All right, we are live.
All right, we're gonna kick this off today. I'm Kwame Shakur, a part of the Second Rainbow Coalition, advisor of the Second Rainbow Coalition. We're gonna be speaking a lot about how is another world possible, and what does that mean in context of this march that we are going to be doing this summer in Milwaukee. We're going to be doing a march on the RNC and the DNC in July and August. So anyone have a question, we would love for you to ask us any questions that you want, about this march, and we'll try our best to answer any questions. But I want to start off with, and I'm going to introduce my guests, but I want to start off with the statement of unity. We're a part of the Second Rainbow Coalition, and this is our statement of unity. Everyone that joined our coalition signed on to this statement of unity. This is what we represent. You'll even hear us talk about the Democratic and Republican Party, even in our statement of unity. So I'm going to start off with the preface. It says the U.S. was founded as a colonial settler state based upon white supremacy and slavery, stealing the lands of the indigenous nations, breaking every treaty made with them, and confining them to reservations, concentration camps. As the country became more powerful, the eagle sunk its claws into other nations, making war on Mexico and grabbing its northern territory, invading Cuba, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and the Philippines, and either annexing them outright or making them colonies or neo-colonies. And in the 20th century, it became the major imperialist power in the world, exploiting both the people within its boundaries and those in every other country, bullying them with military interventions and robbing them of their right to self-determination. As Huey P. Newton stated, we have two enemies to fight, racism and capitalism, unquote. Between the two, capitalism is primary, racism is a byproduct of capitalism. The working people of the world of every ethnicity or nationality face a common enemy that is destroying life on Earth. Our enemy is a small ruling class of property owners controlling most of the world's wealth and resources. We must have our basic needs met to live a good and meaningful life: food, shelter, healthcare, education, freedom from oppression by the state, and peace with other nations. To obtain these essential things for life, we must have the power to see to it that the abundance is available and shared equitably. Now, this is the actual statement of unity. Statement of unity for the Second Rainbow Coalition. The legacy of the First Rainbow Coalition dates back to its founding on April 4th, 1969 by the original Black Panther Party, original Young Lords, and Young Patriots organization. A number of other organizations joined this coalition not too long afterwards, such as the American Indian Movement, Brown Berets, Rising Up Angry, the Red Guards, and others. Since the founding of the United States, the masses have developed a number of popular movements that came together to fight back against this capitalist imperialist system in various ways around particular demands. Nevertheless, none had established a movement quite like the First Rainbow Coalition. This historical movement was the first of its kind that established a model of class struggle like no other. Its charismatic leader, Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois chapter of the original Black Panther Party, stated that at the end of the day, we weren't engaged in a race struggle. He said that it's a class struggle. By uniting with the various oppressed ethnicities and masses, they were able to bridge the gap between the various ethnic communities that white supremacy had long sought to keep divided. This class solidarity equipped them with the material basis and class consciousness to see to their common class condition. Therefore, the necessity to form a united front against their common class oppressor, the capitalist imperialist ruling class. The ruling class viewed this as the greatest threat to their class rule, and subsequently used the entire repressive forces of the state, that is, the police, courts, jails, prisons, and intelligence agencies, etc., in order to crush this emerging revolutionary socialist movement. We refounded the Rainbow Coalition on May 14, 2021, with the intent of upholding the legacy of the original Rainbow Coalition. We believe that this historic example is the model for the United Front that will best serve our class liberation. By upholding the 10-point program of the original Black Panther Party, which was subsequently adopted and later expanded by the original Young Lords, Young Patriots organization, and all other original Rainbow Coalition members, we establish our programmatic unity. The 6 disciplinary rules that we uphold ties all organizations in our coalition to a common professional discipline. History has bestowed upon our generation a common class mission to fulfill. The representatives of the capitalist imperialist ruling class, listen to this, represented by the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, cannot liberate us. It is their class intention and interest to uphold our common class oppression. Therefore, it is only we, the oppressed masses of all ethnicities and nationalities, who must build the necessary class solidarity, class consciousness, and organizational structures in a united front that will ultimately liberate ourselves. This is what this Second Rainbow Coalition is committed to. This is the historic mission we intend to fulfill. Dare to struggle, dare to win, all power to the people, boots on the ground. All members of the coalition, the Poor People's Army, La Mesa Nacional de Brown Berets, NASO, which stands for North Alabama School for Organizers, New Era Young Lords, Green Party of New Jersey, American Indian Movement, Northeast Woodland Chapter. And that is the statement of unity for the Second Rainbow Coalition. I want to start off by talking about, we went out to the Uhuru House, and they told us a story. We're in St. Pete today, so I want to talk a little bit about what the power of the people is and what that looks like. They told us a story about somebody named Tyrone Lewis that was murdered by the police here in St. Petersburg on November the 13th, 1996. The verdict was coming down, and all these the people in the Uhuru movement was meeting at their location down here, and the police ended up raiding this them during this time where they're about to determine what some of the actions that they were going to take, no matter the verdict. This individual was killed in cold blood, and this was an unjustified murder, like most of these murders that happen within the community all across the United States. But the police saw that they needed to repress this movement because a lot of the people was relating to what these comrades was doing down here in St. Petersburg. They raided it, shot tear gas. They even shot, Akile told us that they shot tear gas at the exits of the Uhuru House. They were intending, as Achilles said, that Chairman O'Malley not come out of there. But she said it was the people in the community that came to their rescue and saved them from possibly being taken out their chairman. You know, Chairman O'Malley and the Uhuru movement, All People's Socialist Party, has been around since 1972. But I guess that was the day that they was going to assassinate Chairman Omali Yeshiteli, just like they did Fred Hampton, just like they did Martin Luther King, just like they did George Jackson, and a whole lot of other people that came in our community and built structures and institutions that taught the people how to liberate themselves. They have always seen that as a threat in our community. Always. But it was the people that rallied around in St. Pete area that came to Chairman Omali Yeshiteli's defense and the people in the Uhuru movement, and it was them that drove the police, the pigs, out of there so they couldn't assassinate this great leader. That's the power of the people. That's what the power of the people can do. This march that we're going to do, that we're about to get in now, is showing the people that the Democratic and Republican Party cannot liberate us. We have to liberate ourselves. But the goal is to show the people it is we. When we get tired, the whole world, not just over here. We ain't talking about just liberating the people over here in the United States. We're not just talking about liberating the people over there in the Western Hemisphere. We're not even talking about just liberating Africans or Caribbean people or Europeans or people in South America. We talking about liberating us all. Once we get tired and fed up at the bottom, at the bottom, then we can bring in a society that's going to really be in the interest of the people. And that's what we need to have, that paradigm shift in this country. This is why this election and us doing this march against the Democrats and the Republicans. But the Democrats, a lot of people think the Democrats are going to save us. But this is a president right now waging genocide, killing the Palestinians. It was the Democrats that assassinated Fred Hampton up there in Chicago in 1969. Mayor Richard Daley, Google it. And we can go on and on and on about how the Democrats has been doing. We already know what the Republicans are. You know what I'm saying? But we need to start to recognize both of these parties do not serve our interests. Only we can liberate ourselves. So with that said, I want to introduce some of the panelists on here. They're a part of the Poor People's Army. These are our comrades. That's a part of our movement. I'm glad they came all the way to Philadelphia to speak to the people down here and saying, people, we're not just speaking to them. We're speaking to y'all, America, around the whole country. A lot of y'all, we watching y'all right now, watching what we're talking about tonight. And y'all standing in solidarity. Y'all want to understand what this march on the DNC and RNC is about. And we about to get into that now. I want to introduce my comrade Nick, part of the Poor People's Army. My comrade Peach. Peach is part of the Poor People's Army, and my comrade Galen, a part of the Poor People's Army. And I want to start with you, Galen. Can you talk a little bit about what this march means and a little bit of about it?
Yes, the Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign, aka the Poor People's Army, have been doing these marches on the opening day of the Republican and the Democratic National Convention since the year 2000. And since we've been doing that, it's always been our mission and our goal, not just to march and cry and act like we're begging, you know what I mean, for some type of help or anything. It was always about the relationship and the building with the peoples in the community, and I'm getting people to understand whether the Republicans or the Democrats, neither one of them have done anything for us to be able to ensure that each and one of our families are able to have good, decent food, good, decent housing, good, decent education, health care, and a way to provide for yourselves and your family without restrictions and limitations. And so every 4 years, every presidential cycle, we have these marches, and we use this as an opportunity and a time to allow different people from all around the country and different movements to get a grandstand platform to be able to talk about the issues that are affecting them locally and some of the things that they see as very unjust that's happening in their community. And most of the time, when people talk about the things that's happening unjust in their community, it's the same thing that's happening in another brother's community and another sister's community and people all throughout the country. And so trying to give it a stage so we can educate each other, figure out how we're going to build relationships, to build unity, like the brother Kwame was talking about, and relationship that like your struggle is our struggle when we find out that the common enemy that we all have that's been oppressing us, you know what I mean, since we all can think back. And it's just where different opportunities where we're thinking that on opening day of the Democratic National Convention, you know, there's going to be opportunities for people to come out to Chicago. You know, Nick will lay down the whole timing. I think we're starting in July in relationship to the march that's happening on the RNC in Milwaukee. And so most of the things that we want to do, and we're reaching out to other different people that are listening to us now, is that, you know, if it's a movement that you're working on, a struggle that you're doing, some arts, culture, craft, you want to sing, dance, anything that you want to bring out to show support, you know what I mean, to be able to show and get people to understand about some of the different struggles that's happening in your neighborhood and your community, and figure out how you want to unite with other brothers and sisters who's working on some of the same issues that have some of the same common enemies, on figure out how we're going to put an end to the system. And like I've said, we've been working very, very, very hard to get people to understand, you know what I mean, that it has been no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. Both of them work for the corporations, and we're trying to put an end. All right, thank you.
Thank you, comrade. I want to introduce my comrade Nick. Let me introduce my comrade Nick. He's also with the Poor People's Army. He's been very instrumental in helping to put together this march. Can you talk a little bit about the logistics of this march? Like, how are we going? Like, if people in St. Pete and the people in Tampa down here in Florida want to become a part of this march and stuff, I know we was talking about getting buses and helping people get there. Can you speak about a little bit of that part of the logistics and stuff?
Yeah, so we're marching on the opening day of the Republican National Convention on July 15th in Milwaukee. We're been going back and forth and meeting lots of folks in Milwaukee and around the area, bringing people all to Milwaukee July 15th of this summer. And we're going to be marching from Milwaukee to Chicago from August 3rd to August 17th. And during that 2-week march, we're going to be bringing people all across the country, going to be bringing people who are working on all sorts of different issues all in their different areas who often don't get a platform. And, you know, we know that during Republican and Democratic national conventions, there's thousands and thousands of news cameras from all over the world who want to see what's happening in the United States, who's going to be the next leader of the so-called free world. And so we are using this as an opportunity to, you know, speak truth to power and shine a light on all the different work that we're all doing in our own communities. Because, you know, we don't need to just have a big march to change things, right? We know that ain't going to change anything. I shouldn't say it's not going to change anything. It's not going to change these corporate parties, their policies and the mission they're on, because we know that they don't care about our lives, right? So we're using this as an opportunity to bring people from all over the country together to one place so we can start talking about what we do now in this moment, right? Not how do we, you know, find what someone else did in some other moment, but what do we do now, right here, right now? So we're marching 2 weeks until from the 3rd of August to the 17th of August. And then when we get to Chicago, we're going to be having a concert, a People's Fest concert, where we're going to be, as Galen was saying, you know, all sorts of different performers, artists, giving them a stage to, you know, have and really, you know, have some fun, build some unity between us, because we have to cross-fertilize our movements and our organizations and everyday people who aren't part of organizations, because in all reality, not everyone's going to be able to just switch up their lives because they're inspired by some of the words that folks say or some of the work that folks are doing. But we can bring people together and build those relationships with each other as a way to really think together and build a strategy so we can have a different world. So then August 18th, we're going to be marching on the Democratic National Convention. August 19th, sorry. 18th is the concert. 19th is the Democratic National Convention. And we're really focusing most of our energy there, the Democrats, because it's pretty easy for a lot of people to see the policies of the Republican Party. They don't really care about humanity. They don't care about this planet. And with all the propaganda that's out there, people don't really understand that the Democrats have built this world just as much. And they're building a future that doesn't care about us, doesn't care about our kids, or the planet. And so we're going to be not just here in Tampa, and St. Pete, but all over the country. We're going to be organizing, helping get resources to people to get y'all there. We're a poor people's army. We don't have a bunch of resources, but we believe that it's important to get people who want to be part of this, who want to involve themselves in what we're doing, to a central location, so that we can begin to think together and figure out what's next. So, you know, there'll be more information to come about, you know, how logistically you're going to get there, but we're going to be organizing vans, buses, carpools, train rides, whatever we got to do to get folks from here in Tampa, but all over the country to both these marches, but specifically in Chicago.
No doubt. So let's, and I'm gonna get to Peach with the cultural aspect because I know you're an artist, and we're gonna be doing a concert August the 18th. Can you talk a little bit about like if people here in St. Pete, people here in Tampa, people around the whole country that wants to get involved with this, the information that we need, phone number, email address, how do they contact? I'm here in Tampa area, so I can sign people up here. You know what I mean? But if people around the country, because I know people are watching around the country, this on our YouTube channel, the Second Rainbow Coalition YouTube channel, and I appreciate everyone that's tuning in to this tonight. How do they get in contact with the Poor People's Army if they're not in Florida? And I can't personally sign them up down here, but they're in different parts of the country. How do they get in contact with y'all to be a part of this march?
Yeah, you can email us at poorpeoplesarmymarch@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook at the Poor People's Economic Human Rights Campaign or at PPEHRC, or you can call us 215-869-4753. Or, however you got this link to be part of this, reach out to Kwame.
It's a website too.
Yeah, we got our website, poorpeoplesarmy.com. And there's a million ways to plug in. So please reach out. Yeah.
I want to ask Peach because, and I'm going to plug her. This is one of our sister comrades in our movement and stuff. I'm glad to be down here in Florida, be able to organize with this sister. She's been out here boots on the ground with us. We've been shutting it down for Palestine. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
No doubt. How being an artist, like this concert that we have coming up August the 18th, I know you've been doing a lot more revolutionary type of artists, songs and stuff that you've been developing and stuff and producing. How is artistry as an artist, how does that impact culture? Like when we do this concert August the 18th, we're gonna have thousands of people that's gonna be coming out to this. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna get to a little bit of the history of these marches, which is the 7th time that the Poor People's Army has sponsored this march. But how does the cultural aspect play in? Like when you do your music and you're appealing to the people in your music, how do you see culture change in the way people relate to themselves, how they see the world and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. What I've noticed after, starting doing music and organizing concerts and being in so many different, cultures within music, I've noticed, music is one of the best way to bring all different types of people together that probably normally wouldn't be in the same room together, and they start to realize they can relate to one another in a lot of different ways. I also, someone made a great point that, the Mexican Revolution was won by art, using art, and that, some people can't read or write, or they, children are listening to music. There's different ways that you can get a message across using music. I think the Hunger Games is a great representation of how music and art can spread the word of revolution as well. So that's kind of my goal with using music and art, to be able to touch all kinds of different people and really bring that sense of unity from, across the board, that again, that may, from propaganda and media that would normally separate them and think that they're at odds, that, a concert is a great way to bring all those different people because everyone loves music,
right.
So I think I would really, I'm excited to be a part of that and, be able to bring a lot of different artists that can have a lot of great messages and bring people together with that.
Okay, no doubt, and I agree. I want to plug her real quick, and we're gonna plug her again at the end. You have your performing tomorrow here in
Yes.
Tampa. It's gonna be in Tampa, y'all.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? If you're in the Tampa, St. Pete area, which a lot of the people here, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people watching down here in Florida, you know what I mean, that wants to come out here and support this comrade of ours. Where you performing at tomorrow?
Yes.
At what time?
Yep. It's the Dream Big concert in Tampa at the Crow Bar in Tampa. I'm performing with a lot of different other artists. But you can find my music on my website at vippeach.net or on Spotify and Apple. And I've won Ohio Female Artist of the Year in 2022, and organized a lot of different things, and been trying to make a lot more revolutionary music this year as well.
And that's what time does that open?
It starts at 2:00 tomorrow at Crow Bar. It goes till 8 p.m. I'll be performing between 5 and 6 o'clock.
Okay, well, you have it there. You know, St. Pete come out, Tampa come out. You know, all the surrounding cities, Riverview, Brandon, Ruskin, all of y'all come out, support our comrade right here. I got a chance to hear her music when we was down at the St. Pete Pier the other day. She just broke out, you know, microphone and everything. I was like, okay, I'm right on the side of the corner. Okay, you know what I mean? We bringing it straight to the people.
Yeah, gotta touch the people.
No doubt. I want to talk a little bit to you, Galen. We're also not only doing concerts. We're going to be like doing indictment. We're bringing an indictment against the Republican and the Democratic Party. I want you to talk a little bit about that and why is this important that the people is saying we bringing an indictment against y'all.
Yes, we're going to be having a trial, you know what I mean, right before the march in Milwaukee, and we're going to march down to the Pfizer's Forum. And, you know, after the people have a discussion and we know the outcome was going to be in relationship to the Republican, that they have been committing crimes against humanity, you know what I mean, here in the United States. So we'll be walking straight up, you know what I mean, to the doors of the Pfizer Forum and be trying to issue a citizen's arrest, you know what I mean, for these so-called community leaders or government leaders that's supposed to be out there representing the people that have been totally misleading and leaving people out, you know what I mean, so far away from where the beginning. So when we think about like the beginning, how things were in relationship to like, you know, Democrats and Republicans and, you know, people being able to take it, like represent themselves in a small community, that's no longer happening, you know, and we see that these things have come so far and so detached, you know what I mean, from the local everyday person, these government elected officials. And so we want to cause, you know, people to be in uproar and be upset and mad about the situations and conditions that they're living in. And so after we do that, like Nick said, we come back, we're going to be doing a 2 weeks march where we're going to be doing each day different educationals where people from all around the country are going to be able to come and talk about their issues, the plight. Also, it's going to have different people come and performing, and people being able to figure out as we march through these different communities and stuff like that, and just show the major contradiction in relationship to this American dream. We have seen manufacturing jobs leave this country and never come back. And now with AI, we're seeing just so much job replacing technology that's out there. And so when we get to the Chicago, where we have a permit, you know what I mean?
Say it again.
Yeah, when we get to Chicago, we got a permit to march on August the 19th down to the United Center. And we'll be doing the same thing. We'll be having our discussion. We'll be having our little meeting, a whole trial, and, you know, come up with a decision. And just like the Republicans, the Democrats have been doing the exactly same thing, causing crime, you know what I mean, against humanity here in the United States. And so there we're going to be issuing a citizen's arrest as well.
I want to ask you another question because, you know, this one of the veteran leaders, you know, of the Poor People's Army, and it's a pleasure having both of y'all comrades down here. I know Peach is glad to see her comrades down here, the national leaders, come all the way to St. Pete to talk to the people of St. Petersburg, to talk to everyone around the country. You know what I'm saying about how important this march is. Can you tell, because I know this is like, what, the 7th march that y'all done? Can you talk about a little past marches a little bit?
Yeah, it's documentaries out there that you can watch and see, that's out there. Battle for Broad, August in the Empire.
Where can they find this on?
We can grab those.
I can put the links in the YouTube. After this.
Okay. Yeah, so after you get done watching this, and this is uploaded officially to our Second Rainbow Coalition page, if you want to follow up on the history of some of the marches, we're going to put those links in there. Share it with the people in your community. Share it with your family. This is a time that we're really there's going to be real tough discussions that we're going to have with our own family members. You know what I mean? Like, we have a genocide. Come on, people. We have a genocide going on right now that the International Court of Justice, once South Africa brought it to the International Court of Justice, is recognized this genocide that's happening out there. I know Galen Nick has been going up to Chicago. I know we're trying to get the Palestinian Arab Muslim coalition down here on board with this. We're going to give platforms the different communities out here that want to speak to issues that's very, very concerning to us all. You know what I mean? It really should be concerning to everybody around the country and the world right now. But we're going to be giving them a platform to speak about issues like, for instance, Palestine, right?
Absolutely. And, and our marches have been, we've been having marches as large as up to 10 to 20,000 people. And it's always been a peaceful march. We have our own security. We don't need the police to secure us. Our march is made up of, the everyday family. It's made up of women, children, people with disabilities, seniors, people from all different walks of life, have been a part of our marches. And that's how we look at the country, that it's going to take all of us. We see that it's a very, very, very big problem, and we're going to take all of us to come together to come up with a big solution.
No doubt. Is there anything as far as this march? I know we're going to be doing press conferences. Can you speak a little bit to that? Like how, and Galen, you can jump in to fill in whatever, but holding press conference, because they usually have like international press out there around these times, every election cycle when these marches happen, from my understanding. This is going to be my first march. I can't wait. Those 2 weeks, I'm out there, boots on the ground. You hear me? Boots on the ground. And I want to see everybody around the country out there with us. This is your time to put your voice, the people's voice out there. You know what I mean? Can you talk a little bit like how the using the media to broadcast this message around the world, and how we're going to be holding press conferences throughout this period?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, there's thousands and thousands of cameras right in everybody's faces. They want to know what's going on inside the conventions, but they want to know what's going on outside of the conventions, and especially international press. And Galen can speak to this more, but we know that the news wants to cover things the way they cover it. So we have a whole press team that's going to be working, point the cameras to people who are working on issues that we think are important, that are important in these different communities all across the country and all over the world. And, we'll be having press conferences leading up to the march to, start drumming up support. We're already starting to do that. All of these marches in the past have been unpermitted marches. We don't think a permit is what should determine if we march or not. But we did just win a permit off a technicality because the city didn't respond to us quick enough in Chicago. We are going to have a permitted march, and very likely the only permitted march on the Democratic National Convention, right up to the front doors of the United Center. So that's pretty good. So we're starting to get some attention, getting the ball rolling there, but throughout the trial of the Democrats and the Republicans, and throughout the marches before and after, we're going to be working with press to really shine that light on, stuff y'all are doing down here in Tampa and St. Pete and all over the country in, big cities, small towns, everyone who's really, suffering as a result of the system, but also people who are working towards solutions.
No doubt. Peach, I want to ask you, why should people get involved in the march? Why should everyday people, mothers, people might be unhoused? Like we out here right now in the area. I took Galen and Nick. We came around here yesterday, and it's a lot of unhoused people here. You know what I mean? And a lot of people gravitate towards here because Florida's warm. Who wants to be up in Indianapolis or Philadelphia or Chicago when it's cold right now? You know what I mean? But it's a lot of unhoused people. And this is not just down here. This is around the country. You know what I mean? These are real crises. It's not that it's a lack of housing. It's abundance of housing. You know what I'm saying? So this is a crisis, but there's a lot of different crises. We see the police brutality and the terrorism. Right now, we just had a thing for Andrew Joseph III that happened over in Tampa. You know what I mean? This is a young, 14-year-old, he's a young child still growing up. Football player, got hopes and dreams and stuff. 10 years ago, this is a person that was killed right over in Tampa because they take him from the police intervened in a situation that had nothing to do with him and really that had nothing to do with the kids that they was accosted. And they took them from the fairground, this Andrew Joseph III, took him and dropped him off on the highway. On the highway. This is a 14-year-old kid. If any one of us would have did this, we will be locked up for everything on the books, every statute, and they would have condemned us on the news. This is a terrible parent. What type of parent would drop their kid off on the street? You know what I'm saying? But this, when the police do it, and they have qualified immunity to do it, where the state gonna get away with it and don't have no accountability, this little young boy can get ran over. The person that hit him and ran him over, they let them go. Killed him. Right there on the highway. Let him go. And this mother and father has been grieving for 10 years over their son. But I want to ask you, to go back to you. I know I can go on tangents a little bit, you know what I mean? But
Wings, baby.
How does, you're a mother. I got a chance to meet your daughter the other day. Like, how does a mother, from a mother's standpoint, why is this important for people to come out?
Yeah, I think, if you've never been a part of a march, I think it's a great opportunity to see the power that you have, and to feel that power and the power of the people, and that these are our streets. I love that saying, whose streets? Our streets, because you really feel that when you have that many people, boots on the ground, like you said, and to see so many different types of people too, and to have that unity. And it's a very unique experience to be able to have your voice be heard and to feel that power, to take that power back. And like you said, I me especially, I represent so many different perspectives, whether it's, I'm a single mother, I'm a veteran, I'm a victim or survivor of domestic violence, and have been through the homelessness aspect as well. The whole reason I moved to St. Pete was to help my mom. She was in Salvation Army rehab and was homeless, getting out of it, and she had nowhere to go coming out of it. So I came here to get her an apartment, and unfortunately she relapsed and left. So now, me and my daughter, I got fired recently, and I've been suffering from, behind on all my bills, and so you're 2 weeks away from being homeless and in this economy, and especially, with the war going on, we're getting more and more pressure. The cost of living is going up. I think when you at this march, I think you'll be able to see how that unity and how much we can relate to one another, how we're suffering in all these similar ways, and that we do need to come together. So I think that's especially why you should be a part of this march if you're affected by any of those amount of issues. And that's why it's unique. I think, we've had the Black Lives Matter march, or we've had this, I think sometimes that can alienate people. Sometimes that's an issue, and that we march for this or that. But this is, I think, a march that really is all of those issues. All of these organizations need to come together for, one purpose, and that's for us all to, take our power back.
No doubt.
Can I add to that real quick? Which is just, I think, just like what you're saying, right? Experience. Lose your job, you're 2 weeks away from being homeless. That is such a common experience these days. Like
2 weeks no pay, it's over. You're behind on everything.
And I don't care. You may live in a $500,000 house and drive in a Mercedes Benz, but most people are just a couple weeks or a couple months from being homeless, from losing everything they got. And we're living in a world where jobs aren't as abundant as they were in the past. You got a college degree, you lose your job, most people are struggling to get their next job.
Paying a living wage at that. I think
Exactly.
sure there could be a job available, but we're not in a position anymore to be paid $10 an hour for anything. That just with the cost of living nowadays anywhere is just not viable. With our time and being a single mom and your family, it's just almost impossible to survive off of that.
Right.
Because you've been down the same. How long you been down here now?
I've been about 7 months.
7 months. Okay. I've been down there a few months, as everybody know. The cost of living down here is so astronomically high with rents. Like what it was like for a person, and I'm not gonna say any names, but for a person to live in a 3-bedroom townhouse with 2 bathrooms down here, they told me they're paying $2,300 a month. Mind you, I came from Indianapolis, and I didn't realize like how low the cost of living is compared to down here. And I know different parts of the country, the cost of living is skyrocketing even worse than other locations. But I think people around the country need to hear this so they understand like how this monopoly that they have over the housing situation. This is just one of the many crises that we're dealing with. Because I know y'all deal with a lot of the unhoused and homeless people around the country and stuff like that. But they say that Tampa, the price of living is like the number one cost of living that's skyrocketing around the whole country. That's what I've been told in the movement down here in Tampa. You know what I mean? And one comrade told me that their monthly bill went up $800. $800 on them. They had to leave their housing. They're gentrifying. We went to the projects over here yesterday, and the projects is right here. The gentrification is going on right here. But we see this around the whole country, though. Like it's the way that they even do this stuff is disrespectful to us. They do it right in our face and say, we don't care about you because we're going to build this right here. We just went to the Tropicana, past the Tropicana Center down here, where this used to be a black community that they pushed all of them out to build this center here. I still don't know exactly what they do there. It's a stadium. A stadium. It was probably only a few people in the building when we drove past today. But this used to be at least hundreds of people that lived in this neighborhood. Like, this is not our society. Like, that's what people need to understand. This ain't no democracy. It ain't no real freedom. If it was a freedom, Galen, when we went to the St. Petersburg Pier, and we was looking around, it's only rich people live down here. I asked Galen, I was like, how many people from Kensington can live down here? And they say we all have an opportunity. Most people from Kensington will never walk that St. Petersburg pier. You know what I mean? They up here in these sky-high towers looking at the Tampa Bay, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, but this is the thing me and Galen was talking about the other day. We can all live like this. We can all live like this. When we start to register that, that's the contradiction. We not living like that right now. We walk out this building after this, we gonna see homeless, unhoused people lined up out there, laying in the grass right by this lake right here. Was it Lake Mirror or something like that? Mirror Lake. Like this should shock our consciousness that we allowing this to happen. I'm telling you this. When we replace this system, we all gonna look at this and like, why did we wait so long? Why? How many people have died over the years? How many people have been killed by the police? How many people have died from starvation, malnutrition, pollution of our environments and stuff, where we catching all these type of cancers and all this other stuff because they know they're polluting our community. You know what I'm saying? And we're dying on this, but we're allowing this because we're not understanding our power. This is what this is about. Teaching the people their power. You know what I mean? I'm not going to keep on going, but you got anything? I know we going past our time. We was going to be here till 7:30. We can take questions afterwards and stuff like that. But do you have any closing thing that you want to offer?
I'll just say, yesterday, right outside this church, we were talking to two older men, probably 60s, 70s, and we were just talking about like what's going on in the world right now. Like this place is messed up, and they were just like, they were glad to hear us talking about it, right? They were like, yeah, like nobody's you know, putting the finger on what's actually the larger overall issues that are happening. And we were talking about how the importance of this transmission of intergenerational knowledge, and that's not happening right now. We need to really be building a movement of all generations, all sections of the population, to come together and really be honest with ourselves about what world we're living in and what future is at our doorstep. Some people think that there's a teddy bear at the door, but we see a grizzly bear. And we got to organize like we understand what that grizzly bear is going to do to us when it comes inside our house. And so that's all I say is we're in a moment of history. We got to take this seriously and be honest with ourselves that these corporate parties aren't a solution. A lot of these nonprofits out there getting all this money, talking a lot of good things, but not doing the work that needs to be done of bringing people together, and actually finding solutions rather than just talking about problems. So, you know, we have an opportunity. We have the greatest opportunity that the people of this country have ever had, and really the people of the world, I would say, because automation and AI, as Galen said earlier, is coming for all of us. It's coming for our jobs and our way of life. And unless we're real about that, then the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years are going to look bad. And beyond that, the next 7 generations are going to be pretty horrible. So we got to do something. We got to stand up, come together as just everyday people, not waiting for the leader to come, but know that we're all the leaders.
Yeah. You have any closing words, Peach?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'd say if you know an artist that has a really good message, or you think should be a part of the concert in August in Chicago, to reach out to us as well, as we're organizing that, or you think they should be heard or have some great art that they should share, then to contact us or to contact me.
All right. Galen, you want to close us out?
Just pretty much, you know what I mean, what people said. just tap in, you know what I mean, to us, you know what I mean. I hope to see you on the opening day of the Democratic National Convention in August 19th. I know we're also doing the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, but like Nick was saying earlier, I think people kind of get, you know what I mean, they don't have our best interests at heart, you know what I mean, for the masses of the people, but somehow we have to come to the understanding and the light that the Democrats don't either. All right, thank you.
Thank you. We got one question right here. Before we close out, any other questions we'll talk afterwards?
First off, I want to say thank y'all for coming out here. I appreciate y'all speaking some truth and bringing the message to the people. As somebody that had to get a ride over here from a little small town, you know, I'm not from the city. Somebody from a little town, just getting plugged in, just getting connected. How do I start organizing? How do I start getting people around me to hear this, to see this? You know, how do I get stuff going on in my town? Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Galen.
Yeah, I'll say something quick. Like, my whole thing is relationships. You know, I've been a relationship type guy all my life, you know what I mean? And I like having good ones, you know? And so people should think about meeting their neighbors, you know what I mean? Knowing what's happening on their block, knowing what's happening on their streets or their roads, if they live out in the country, what's happening on their roads. And, you know, really start knowing the people in your neighborhood and your community and trying to figure out what are some of the issues that are affecting y'all and what are some of the things that y'all would like to change, and start from there and look out to other citywide or statewide or national groups that have your best interests at heart and try to make that connection.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, building community, I think that's I think as we start to see, I know I've noticed more online, I see more and more people talking about very similar things that are affecting them, whether it be, oh my God, the food's so high now, or oh my God, my heat bill's so high, as you start to recognize, those people that are, talking about those things more and more and kind of reaching out to them and being able to, invite them to something like this that maybe they normally wouldn't have gone to, or maybe there's an event going on, hey, join me for this. And, really touching the people. I think that is the key to building community, especially with just how media is and social media is now, and that people can get really the wrong impression of marches or what a protest is unless you've really experienced it and been there.
Absolutely.
So really getting them familiarized slowly or integrating them into it that maybe they haven't really been a part of it, but touching people and building community and really showing them, it's not what the media portrays it to be.
Absolutely.
Right. I want to add, because you make a good point right here. I'm going to let you go up there because I know you got
it doesn't end with a protest either.
Yeah,
exactly. Continuing that. Yeah.
The last thing I would say to follow up what Pizza said is that a lot of people that don't come out to marches, they was like, well, that's not going to change nothing. And we say, we're not saying this is the ultimate solution. This ain't even about really, this is an indictment of the people. This is building relationships, as Galen talked about. This is starting to unite the people around the country where they start to understand their power. This is about networking with different groups that might not even know they groups exist. You know what I'm saying? That they're out there and that we need to start working together. Right. And from a revolutionary standpoint, we call this the United Front. You know what I mean? And it's many different organizations of our generation scattered out across the whole country. We need to bring all of the dissatisfied, disaffected people together when we start to talk together and we start to realize, okay, our network needs to be attached to your network needs to be attached to this network, and all across the country where we start to put this together. When we start doing this, watch how the Democrats and Republicans respond to that. In the 60s when they did this with the Democrats, I'm not even talking about Nixon right now. I'm talking about Lyndon Johnson and all them. When we started to do that, what did they do? They took off, they faced their mask that they've been showing us for a long time and showed us they've always been fascists. They used the police state to attack all of our movements and demonized us. They killed our leaders of the 60s. They took all those institutions out of our community, and later on, we find out through the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, they flood our community with drugs to keep us destabilized. This was a counterinsurgency against us. A war has already been declared on us, people. We walking around like we actually a part of a society that cares about us from the top, and they never have. This is the time to shift the consciousness where the people start to realize we at the bottom as a poor people, and I'm going to close out with this. The Poor People's Army, they brought it to the Second Rainbow Coalition, and I promoted hard within the Rainbow Coalition. We ain't from the right, we ain't from the left, we from the bottom, and we coming for those at the top. All power to the people.
All power to the people.